Okay, another day, another podcast that I am recording, and I forgot my earbuds, and so I am going to have to project a little bit, which I don't like doing for recording, because I lose the subtlety. I'm an artist of subtlety. That is what I am. And somehow I've got to make sure that I can keep doing this as I'm driving without killing myself or anyone else. So this feels very strange. I feel like I'm talking over my shoulder to the phone that I put in my cup holder in the effort of entertaining you. You should be thanking me, 11 people who listen, or possibly 2 people who download multiple times, or possibly me who downloads 11 times. I've decided that I'm going to put out an album. It's going to be a comedy album with no audience. And here's my thinking on this. This is the only time in the history of the world where I feel like I can self-release an album with no audience, and there's a justifiable reason. Ergo, I need to do this now before they reopen the economy. I'm under a time crunch here, people. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm very depressed today. And it's going to be weird talking about my depression while trying to project. It's like I'm talking about my depression over a balcony to somebody. It's also very hot in the car. Why am I depressed? I feel like a failure. I feel like that never has there been a better time to get followers online, and I'm not getting followers online. And I'm beginning to have a lot of self-doubt, and I'm thinking, geez, maybe I'm not that good. And then the thought occurs to me. Then I try to say, well, so what if nobody thinks you're good? It's not about that. It's about doing it for the sake of doing it, without the fruits of your actions. It's like what, I think that's the theme of the Bhagavad Gita and Buddhism. That's what the Buddha is saying. It's not about the fruit of your actions, Josh. It's about doing the podcast for the sake of doing the podcast. So you think it's cool that there's only 11 listeners? Wow! I mean, I figured at least 100. 11? Dude! I got nothing. Well, thanks, Buddha. Do you think there's ever a point where somebody met Buddha in the street and Buddha was like, no, don't literally kill me. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. To put the knife away. Put the knife. I know I said when you meet Buddha in the street, kill him. But this is just a metaphor. Okay? I'm a teacher. I'm just going to get some coffee. Just a metaphor. I never should have come up with that metaphor. Never. But that's really a question that I've got to answer in this time of quarantine, when I have no other excuse. What am I? How do I measure my own self-worth? Do I measure it by how much money I make? Do I measure it by how many followers I have? Or do I measure it by something deeper? The size of my no, we know, I know. I had to go there. I threw myself the softball. I had to hit it. I think, for me, there's a moment where I have an idea and I say, that's funny. And that, for me, is my favorite moment. And I'm sort of paraphrasing Woody Allen when I say this, but every moment after that is horrible. Because then comes the second guessing, maybe it's not that funny. Then comes the editing. I don't know, it should be funnier if I use the word provocative instead of the word evocative. Then there's trying it in front of an audience. Definitely not funny. Damn. Then there's trying it again, working it, getting it better, polishing it. Then it gets to the point where it's okay, and then it stops working, and then it starts working, and then it stops working, and then we're all dead. And that is life. They're letting the bookstores reopen, but it's curbside service. But for me, half the fun is being in the bookstore. So I feel like I'm going to drive up to a bookstore and the guy's going to come out and he's going to, what do you want? And I'm going to say, listen, can you walk around the bookstore for half an hour, look at a bunch of books that you think you should read, and then buy a Batman comic? Can you do that for me, please? Thank you. That's how I go book shopping. I don't know when the day starts and ends anymore. It kind of starts and ends when I say it does. Sorry for the pause. I was ruminating in my own failure again. Gotta stay out of that. Got to stay out of that, friends. They're saying that what we're experiencing right now is worse than the Great Depression with respect to unemployment. And I'd like to submit that we call this the even greater depression. I really think that's what we should call this. Just so we can be the generation that's like, oh yeah, okay, so sure, all those people survived the Great Depression. Well, we survived the Greater Depression, all right? That is my vote. I'm recording into a phone while wearing a mask, while driving, in an era where everything is shut down because of a virus that either gives you no symptoms, a common cold, or death. How can this get any more David Lynch? David Lynch now, in order to make movies that are bizarre and absurd, is going to have to make a straight-up cookie-cutter romantic comedy. I'm feeling good about what I accomplished here. I think I'm going to stop. It's going to be a short podcast, but by God, I did it.